Welcome back. We're going to be continuing on working with our drop game or our simple Swift game we've been making so far. And as you can see right here, as we start off, the actual struct drop game view, the one that's at the Swift part of the code, there's no changes to this for all the changes we're making. Everything we're working is going to happen inside our game scene. What we're looking at today is how we can add the particle effects. We can have some cool explosion effect happen. So let's go ahead and go to a quick little startup to see what's going to happen as that works. So we've got our app running right here. And as you can click right here and we click on the thing, we have a color match happen. And boom, color matches. We have that cute particle effect explode and blow up. Let's see it happen again here one more time. Boom, boom. We'll see something happen. There we go. Boom, those cute little explosions. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, cool little effect. So how do we make that explosion effect happen? Well, what we need to do first is we're going to go ahead and go over into our particles. And so we add a new folder or group to our game itself. I named it particles. And inside there, we're making a new particle called sprite particle. And when we make a particle, let's open this up and you can see it has automatically this cool effect. This is just what comes by default with this. And so if I want to make a brand new particle, I'll just do a quick demo. I'm going to make a brand new one. I'm not going to use it, but we'll just make a new one right here. So it's a new file. And all we have to do is we go over here and we're going to do particle is a search, and you can see there's a sprite particle file. We hit next. We just give it a name. And so we have a couple different templates: bokeh, fire, fireflies, magic, rain, smoke, snow, spark. And we're working with spark inside here, and that you can already see right there what's happening. So let's go ahead and let's put this with magic to see what happens with that, just to see a good start. And we'll go ahead and next on that. And then say we want to name it right here, and I'm going to give it a name that makes exact sense. So it's going to be called magicparticle.sks. I know, crazy, not magic. Magicparticle.sks. And we hit create. And it creates that file for us, and boom, we have this cool green twisty sparkly effect that happens automatically. This is what it gives us right now without doing any extra work. We have all this available for us, and I click over here and you can see that same effect happening. And this is amazing. This is just what's given to us by default. But what we can do and actually work with, if I go ahead and do Alt Command 0 to open up my assistant editor, and in the assistant editor, Alt Command Enter so I can open my inspector pane. And I want to go over here to the Attributes Inspector. The Attributes Inspector is where I really get the features that I can actually talk about this. This is what defines the actual particle itself. As you can see right here, we have these lovely pieces right here. We have a particle right here. We have an emitter. And starting off at 250, going to 0, a lifetime, a position. It has a color ramp. And these are the things that allow us to make some changes on that. So if I say, for example, my birth rate, let's go ahead and bump that up to, say, 1,000. Tab that over. And oh my gosh, we have some evil green potion happening. This is amazing stuff. If I dump that down to 50 instead of 250, and it's a very slow, different effect. And so that emitter birth rate, we can see how cool it is. So it goes from a very slow to very big. Our lifetime has the same, how long do they actually last? We have a 2.5. If I bump that up a bit, 4.5, 5.5. And we can see that they last a little bit longer. You get a little bit more diffuse. Really pretty cool. Lots of cool things. I can color blend on this. I can add some colors, so I can have a color blend right here. And when I click on that color blend, I'm adding a factor of 2. I get to add a new color on this, and I can drag that over right here. All those different things happen based on just changing the different types of particles. And so what I'm using with ours in the project right here is on Spark Particle. You can see I've got my color ramp. I've got a color starting at orange color, moving up to a red. And I have my birth rate set to 200. And I've got a lifetime of 1 as I'm working with that. So that's what I'm using for that quick explosion. If I make different changes to that, it'll make it look more sparkly and effective. But we can do all sorts of cool stuff. So that's the first thing we have to do, is have to make that particle itself and give it a name. And we can do all our commission. We can do all of our emitter settings over here in this. And so you can see when I click on that, the different effect, it looks like a nice explosion. Really pretty cool. So that's what I'm using for that. Then I'm going to go over into game scene. Again, everything happens inside game scene. And to do that, I'm going to go over here, and I made a method called explosion effect. And so that's what I'm going to be using to call inside the annihilate method. I use the reference to that node itself. I want to get its position because I need to know where the explosion effect needs to happen, because I want it to happen when the actual different blocks collide. And so the explosion effect has the parameter called at, which takes the position from that. And so I say private func explosion effect at location CG point. Again, using the Swift naming convention, where the exterior name and the interior name, so they make sense both when you're using it there and when otherwise. And if I can create an explosion, and so the sprite emitter node, I can't guarantee it's going to work, so I have to use the if-let pattern to make that happen. So I say, can I make an explosion? Oh, can I? Yes. Then I use a spark particle, because that's one I made earlier, so it references that file name right there. Again, don't use the extensions for that. And if I can, then I'm going to add that child to the scene. So I just add the child right there. And then I'm going to say a wait time, because I want this to happen for 5 seconds, and I want the explosion to be removed from parent because I don't want the explosion to keep happening and happening and happening and happening. I want the explosion to go and then go away. And so I have a wait time on that of 5 seconds. And after that, I want it to be removed from the parent. I don't want the explosion to hang around inside the tree because that would be too huge. I've had just a slow, laggy game. We don't need that. So we want to tell it to remove itself from there. And so I have an explosive sequence where I'm going to create a sequence based on those two actions of a wait time and the action of taking itself out. Because again, SK action allows things to happen for short little command-based events. And so I create this SK action for wait and remove from parent, and I put those together inside a sequence using a temporary array right there of wait time and remove explosion. Then I have, again, my SK sound for explosion we saw in the other video, so we can take a look at that. And then tell that explosion to run that explosive sequence. And so that explosive sequence happens, it runs, and boom, we have this cool explosive effect. Really pretty cool. We can do some great things with that. And as you can see when I go to the actual game, I click on a thing and it matches, and I get a cool explosion effect. Really pretty cool. And I do that simply by creating a wait time right here. So it happens 5 seconds after it's out, it's gone, it's thrown away. If I made that 50 seconds, it would sit there and explode for 50 seconds. Not probably what we want to have for just a quick little sample, but say, for example, there's a longer term effect that you want to see happening. You could have that happen, like, say, for example, a power-up effect. That might want to have that effect happening for a while rather than simply just a quick 5-second blurb. But that's something you could have do and do some cool stuff with. But then take a look at that again. So again, to make an explosion effect happen, we use a sprite emitter. And so we make a new group called particles. We put the emitter inside that. We do the settings. We slowed it down a bit because we didn't want to have it be this huge giant effect. We slowed the particle emitter settings down. So they went down just a bit, so it's just a slow explosion. That emitter of 2050 is what we're setting for that. We could change those on there. I also changed the color factor on that so I could have a bit more of a different range of colors. It's not just one, it goes from orange to a red. And so it's the color ramp that we're working with that. And then I just add that inside my game scene, and I have an explosion effect method that happens at that location. And so I use that parameter right there to make that specify and happen from there. And that's a way you can add explosions to a game or add other visual effects using this SK emitter and have some cool stuff. Thanks again, cheers, and have a great day. We'll see you again in the future. Bye.